Welcome to the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast. Pull up a chair and kick up your feet as you get ready to enjoy some of the industry's most entertaining and actionable Dynasty content on the planet. We're talking veterans, rookies, sleepers, and oh yeah, you know the crew has those dad jokes ready for you. So let's not wait any longer and bring on the host or some combination of Doug, James, and Tyler.
Hey everybody, welcome into the Dynasty Happy Hour. That is right, Doug is not here. He will for sure be back next week. He is taking care of a couple things, but in his seat, I will be here because we're going over the NFC East. So I figured I would just go over the teams and give James, who is the entrepreneur of the NFC East. He is the person, the go-to person for the NFC East to say it lightly, pretty much, because you do know your stuff about the NFC East. Hey, mark it down. Gave James a compliment.
Holy crap. We're starting off this with a compliment? Oh, boy. This is going to be a great episode.
You know, Pat McAfee has Feel Good Friday. It's been a Feel Good Sunday. It's been a good day, good weekend. We are getting hit with a ton of rain, so I'm hoping to get this done before we get hit with a major rainstorm. We have gotten hit pretty hard up here. But, James, how are things over in your neck of the woods?
Well, when it rains, it pours, Tyler. I can't believe that we're here. We're doing the NFC East. I'm happy that it's kind of like the last divisional breakdown that we have to do before we get back into our usual fun routine of Dynasty fantasy football. But I had my son the entire day yesterday. The wife was away on a bachelorette party. And, man, 2-year-olds are nonstop. I'm learning this firsthand. It is wild.
You know what you should do? You should have a girl who is nonstop, that is almost 4, a 6-year-old that is nonstop, and a 9-year-old that is almost nonstop. And then it's just like you're drowning.
I mean, I do not like to drink caffeine. That's like one of those things.
You had a ton, didn't you?
And I didn't have any yesterday, and I felt like the withdrawal from caffeine and the fact that I had to put the extra effort into chasing this kid around, man, I was done by like 3:00. I was burnt.
Hey, you know what? Tip of the cap to you and everybody who had their kids, and tip of the cap to everybody that went to the expo. We were very sad we missed it, but hey,
yes.
You know, you never know. DHH is hoping to make it back there very, very soon. We're hoping we can get there again.
Oh, I'm going. I'm going. Even if I actually don't go to Canton, I'm taking that week off next year. That's
fair. That is fair. I mean, it's not that far of a drive, but it would be a long drive for me, 16 hours. So
16, it's about 9 for me. So
yeah, it's still pretty long, but I know a lot of people took the drive, and good for them. It looked like it was a good turnout, and Des Bryant was there. That looked fun.
Catching passes, signing autographs.
But you know what? If you're on your flight back from Canton, or if you're just still at home, thanks for giving us a listen. Give us a subscribe on YouTube and a like, a review. We love the reviews. We like reading them. I know one of the negative reviews we just recently got was about Kendre Miller. I saw he got hurt today with a sprained knee.
Yeah.
That kind of sucked because he just, if he stays healthy, his talent can grow. But the thing is, like, he just seems to always
Interesting.
get hurt.
It's the same knee as that got hurt in the Fiesta Bowl. And we wondered why, you know, we were a little hesitant in the off season about Kendre Miller.
I mean, we can't predict injuries. I'm not going to say that we called this. We are still, like, he's still 20 years old. He's super young. My issue was he's raw. He's a very raw running back, almost like Lamar Miller coming out of the U. What he looked like was like, hey, that's Lamar Miller, because Lamar Miller was an explosive athlete, just didn't know how to, quote-unquote, run the ball. Like, he couldn't find the hole, but he ultra talented, so hopefully he can get healthy and show that talent.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, the word out of camp is that he was actually doing a great job, so hats off to him. We hope that he comes back soon. I am still taking him in, like, the last round of my redrafts.
Yes, and so before we get into it, I do want to hit our sponsor, Underdog. And Underdog is a great platform. You can go on best balls right now before the season starts. The parlays will start very soon, which are always fun. Doug and I's favorite. And I know, James, you hit some parlays too.
Oh,
James is probably, elbow deep into best balls. How many have you done?
About 20.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Underdog. You know, if you're going to do 20, guess what? You can do 20 by throwing $100 in. You get $100 back. That is more than 20. If you just want to throw $5 entry, 25, you can go for the big dogs, $25, $100 entries. Like, you can do that. If you use code DHH, you enter in $100 into your account. You'll get that $100 back. Or you could just do 20. Hey, $20, you can get 20 back. Like, that's the best part about it, is you don't need to go all in. You can just dip your toe in and get some money back and into playing, because the season's coming up, so you might as well do it, because it's going to happen anyway, so you might as well do it now. And once again, use code DHH and get that full return back. All right, I just want to give you guys a review of the preseason. I know it was a huge, huge week. So all rookie quarterbacks sucked. They're all busts. That's what I saw. Player profiler pretty much said Quentin Johnson can't catch because he had an over-the-shoulder, had to pretty much turn his body around type catch. So he can't catch, apparently, even though he caught a touchdown.
Oh, like the catch that Kyle Pitts dropped in training camp?
Yes.
Because he had to turn around? Oh, okay.
Yep. So apparently Quentin Johnson's a bust. Let me see here. Zay
Flowers is terrible.
Zay Flowers is terrible.
Yeah.
All these rookie running backs that were drafted, 6th round or undrafted, are all hits. They're all slams. They're all happening. They're all the next big thing. That's happening. Let me see here. Trey Lance threw an interception that became a touchdown. Now, I will say he did not look great. He did not look like he's better.
No, I wish I could have gotten rid of him. I should have sold while I had the chance.
Surprisingly,
I have
he was
one
of my
share.
Most rostered player. He was right there with Herbert, and I actually dropped him down to, I think, like 3. And those 3, I think, are single quarterbacks. So I got out, even though I was a fan. And, that's tough. That's just super tough. I mean, the guy hasn't played football in so long. Is there anything you kind of want to hit on for this preseason? I'm trying to think back. I mean, Cordell Patterson is ahead of Bijan.
We can get into the news and kind of like play the tea leaves off of that a little bit. Some signings in the Raiders. I'll mention that Damian Williams gets signed by the Raiders this week.
It's a body.
Yeah, but see, here it is, Tyler, and this is why we don't care about Damian Williams individually. But from a team standpoint, it means that they are preparing to go the season without Josh Jacobs, which is big news for the Dynasty community, obviously a top 5 running back, and more news into the Zamir White picture. He looked good today, man. And I hear great things coming out of camp. You know, he set pretty much, I think he took, 20 snaps last year? Did not really run the ball.
He ran a lot in this preseason game. His average wasn't great. Like, he is a volume play. And that's what we all thought was.
He was taking some
Jacobs.
chunks. He was taking some chunks. I saw him on a first down to go for 9 yards. I'm okay with him. Just mentioning best ball. I'm grabbing him in the late last round of my best ball drafts now and picking him up off of waivers if he's there on for Dynasty, and or adding him in to any trades that I'm doing.
Yeah, I do want to say, going to the Denver game, it looks like Adam Troutman is actually the tight end you want. Greg Dulcich did not play hardly at all. It's a bad look for Dulcich, and Cecil Lammy even said Dulcich is not it. He's a guy, and that's the hardest part. Sean Payton has a certain style, and Dulcich he can't.
Troutman's
block.
It.
Troutman's going to be the guy, and you're not going to want him. That's where we're probably at here. Russell Wilson, I don't think looked particularly good at all.
No, and either did Jerry Jeudy. The first pass that he got thrown, he dropped it.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
And then he came back and scored a touchdown.
Jerry Jeudy also has a history with drops. I mean, we're talking about Jamar Chase style hits on Twitter, the X app. People, let's stop with this. Let's just wait till the year's over with. Then we can start thinking hey, this rookie's this. Anthony Richardson threw a bad interception. CJ Stroud threw a bad interception. Bryce Young, he got hit 4 times, hit hard, but he was safe.
I think the whole narrative should be, first off, it is preseason.
Yes, they're
okay.
trying
You'd
things.
rather to see them throw an interception now than in the regular season. Does it mean that they're going to throw 10, 15 interceptions in the regular season? No, it does not. I'd rather see them make the mistakes now and correct them with 3 weeks left of training camp. However, some of the receivers, like Tank Dell, needs to be put under a spotlight.
You mean wide receiver 2 in Dynasty now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wide receiver 2, Tank Dell.
It's Jefferson, then Tank Dell. Everybody, that's apparently. And once again, if you're on the X app and you're following anybody in the fantasy community, this is not the time to follow the advice. Like, this is hype season right now. This is monkey see, monkey do type stuff.
Echo chamber.
JSN, haven't heard much from him other than those, practice catches because he didn't really do much in this game, and that's okay. Like, what was I going to say? There's a player that popped off this week, and Justin Fields, 3 for 3, 2 touchdowns, and
175 yards.
The funny thing is, it's like all the people that are for Justin Fields just showing up, like, hey, this is efficient. This is what you want to see. And then the people that hate Justin Fields are like, oh, look at the air yards. It's like, come on, guys. Like, stop with this cat and mouse dog fight. Like, this is dumb. Like,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
I watched the plays that mattered in that game, and DJ Moore looked good.
Yes.
Khalil Herbert looked great.
Yep. Roshan looked great.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that I got
needs to work on his pass block.
This offensive line is way better. Like, that's a huge plus. That's the biggest plus I took from this is Chicago's offensive line actually looked better, and they're actually getting the ball out of Justin Fields' hands quicker. That's what I want to see, because you know what? I don't want this guy getting hit 1,000 times this year.
Yeah.
Like, see, we got to look at things like that. We can't sit here and say negative things. I mean, let's go to the Lions, I should say. Jahmyr Gibbs, awesome. Looked great, electric. Looks like he's getting involved in the pass game. Jameson Williams, fast. Hey, who had a case of the dropsies? Jameson Williams. He had 6 targets and 3 catches. Like, he had some bad drops in there too.
And then you add in Sam Laporta there, where he has made all the news in training camp and didn't get one pass.
Yeah, Kincaid didn't look great. Like, James Cook looked awesome. He looked electric. He looked fast. And you know what? It's happening.
Buddy. Here it goes.
That's the one person where I have not left the bandwagon. I got a hard time all last year for drafting him early.
Yeah, that's because you reached.
I mean, I did, and now, right now, like,
you were reaching in the
I took
in
him
the
around Chris Olave.
first round,
Chris Olave,
right
area.
where Chris Olave was.
And honestly, I'd probably rather have Chris Olave, even though I don't know if he's going to be, elite, even though everybody says he is. But I'm still happy with where I got him. Like, 108, sure. Give me that. I'll take that. And people are taking Jameson Williams ahead of him. I think you'd rather have James Cook right now than Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
Anything else that I really missed about the preseason? Atlanta's defense is great, which is going to really help Bijan's numbers because they're going to be, like, it looks like they're going to have some turnovers. They just signed the Canadian Football League, I think, or the U.S. Football League. They signed their Defensive Player of the Year at linebacker. Really? So they actually cut high profile, like Mekhi Walker, they cut to sign this guy. Like, he's going to get some playing time, Defensive Player of the Year for them. So this is it's an exciting time of year. It's fun to watch these younger players and a lot of the guys that you picked up, like the running back for Denver, McLaughlin or something like that. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody who knows who I'm talking about. He's Chase something. Yeah, you know. And then
no idea.
There's the running back for the Chargers who looked super quick. What's his name? Doxson.
Oh, Josh Doxson?
No, not Josh Doxson.
You're talking about Isaiah Spiller?
No, Spiller did have a touchdown call back. It's like Elijah Doxson or something like that. Number 42 for them. And the one guy that I was super happy looked great. Amazing. Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn's happy people, and you guys can't turn away from it because
we're going to get into him a little bit today.
He's super productive. Like, yeah, he's happening. He's a thing. I don't care how tall he is. This guy is electric. All right. Speaking of electric, Trophy Smack. If you guys all went on the X app today or yesterday or any day, they were popping on the X app. You could see pictures, videos, and everything of their booth at the expo. They were showing up and showing off. They had the belts for the bag tournaments. They had rings for the fantasy flag football tournament, whatever they had. They had everything there. Whatever you want.
Mini helmets.
Mini helmets. Like, it's awesome. And you know what? If you want to go get one of those things, if you weren't at the expo and you saw pictures, go ahead. It's super easy. Just go to trophysmack.com, type in a code DHHRing, and you know what? You get a trophy and you get a free $60 ring with the purchase of a belt or trophy. I had a friend come up to me. He goes, hey, those trophies that you have are sweet. I want one for my league. Where do I go? I typed in the website, and he goes, these are actually really good priced. And I said, yeah, they are. And he's like, I've looked at other websites. They're just crazy high, $200+. These won't break your bank. Like, these are nice trophies for a great price. And you can get your $60 ring for free with code DHHRing. It's a very sturdy ring. It's heavy. You can get a case for it, a glass case like I do for Doug and I's Trade Addicts title. It's very nice. And you can customize your belt. James has a customized belt with the Swedish Chef. Shirty fruity.
Birdie, bird. Get your belt, purr.
Yes, and you have to. I should get a beaker one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love beaker. But, yeah, go to trophysmack.com once again. Use code DHHRing for that free championship ring when you purchase your belt and trophy, because you're going to anyways. Just like the Underdog, you're going to do this anyways. You might as well just do it now. All right, James, let's get into this real quick, and we're going to start off with the Commanders. Now, I'm going to go over their depth chart, and you're going to give me the rundown of what you think.
All right.
So,
yeah,
at
sure.
quarterback, we have Sam Howell, starter, look good. Jacoby Brissett, backup, look good. Jake Fromm, the State Farm insurance man behind him. At running back, we have Brian Robinson, year removed from the unfortunate incident that he had. Antonio Gibson, Chris Rodriguez, Jonathan Williams, Jared Patton, and Derek Gore. At wide receiver, we have Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown, Bryce Thurman, Jalen Sample, Jahan Dotson, who looked great, Byron Pringle from Kansas City, Marcus Kemp from Kansas City, and a couple other scrubs. Curtis Samuel, Dax Maline, the guy who caught passes from Zach Wilson. And then at tight end, we have Logan Thomas back from injury, John Bates, Cole Turner, Curtis Hodgins, and Caden Smith.
All right. So, I mean, thanks for the full-blown depth chart there.
You got it.
The real thing about the Washington Commanders this year is it's new owners, new offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, and a new feel for this offense. And I think we got a glimpse of that this weekend with the preseason game with Sam Howell playing in the first quarter. Threw a touchdown to Jahan Dotson. Listen, for all of those people that did not listen to us last season about Sam Howell, you were about to understand why we said, take him. He is a sleeper. He is an underdog. 5th round draft pick. All right. He could read a defense. He can escape a pocket with his legs. I am still trying to send offers for this guy, and I think it works out. Eric Bieniemy knows how to utilize his weapons and help his quarterback, protect his quarterback, get the ball out fast. I can see that happening a lot. I'm not worried about Jacoby Brissett. I think he's a handcuff. If you're in a super flex league, fine, go ahead. But he did not look good. He played very lousy in the preseason, but yet it's only preseason. Moving into the running back room, last year we saw Brian Robinson miss 5 games, obviously with the shooting incident. It was a great storyline. He's currently listed as Dynasty running back 38. Guess who is in front of him, Tyler?
Antonio Gibson,
running back 37. And if I have to make my choice out of these two guys for Dynasty, I'm going with Gibson. Yes, he's dealt with some injuries. He dealt with the Liz Frank injury. Brian Robinson, back pretty damn good. But there's a downside to Robinson where he could get stuck with first and second down.
6 to 8 points is literally it could be the average. And
He
then
only
needs
averaged
touchdowns.
3.8 yards per carry when he was healthy on the field, which makes me want the pass catching role, or what Antonio Gibson labeled it as, the J.D. McKissick role from last year. I
or
want
the
that.
Jerick McKinnon role from Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, there you go. What did he do? What did he do in Memphis? What did Antonio Gibson do?
He was a wide receiver.
He was a wide receiver. He's more suited to be a pass catcher. And Eric Bieniemy wants to spread this ball around. The offensive line isn't that good. All right. We know this. I think they're going to dump down the ball a lot, especially with the injury in the tight end scenario with Logan Thomas not being there. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Chris Rodriguez, an optional depth piece that I would consider for a taxi slot. 24-year-old rookie. Wow. 24-year-old rookie, 6th-round pick out of Kentucky. I think he has some potential. If anything were to happen to either Brian Robinson or Antonio Gibson, I think he would get some play time. So it's something to understand. The real story, though, is the transition from a run-first team that we saw last year with Brian Robinson leading the helm to a pass-first offense now that Sam Howell is the quarterback under the center. Terry McLaurin, Dynasty wide receiver 22. He finished as wide receiver 14 last year. I think he stays in that low-end wide receiver 1, high wide receiver 2 range.
No, he's interesting because I feel like nobody wants him.
Right.
But he's productive.
Right. Last 3 years, over 1,000 yards. Only problem is, you know how we say touchdowns aren't a sticky stat? He's had 5 touchdowns over the last 3 seasons in a row.
He's DJ Moore, but cheaper.
Yeah. Like a couple spots cheaper, maybe. But I think as we see this offense start to develop more, we're going to see Jahan Dotson. He only played, he missed like 5 or 6 games last year.
7 touchdowns, started off super hot in the touchdown department.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns in his first game played. I mean, and you know what? His value shows that. Dynasty wide receiver 27, I'm willing to pay up for him.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll give a low end first. Like if I'm a competing team, I'm going out and trying to buy Jahan Dotson. He's not going to be a wide receiver 1, but he's a great wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 flex play if you're in deeper leagues. And I believe that his volume is going to continue to rise. We always say it, but he is like a Tyler Lockett on the field, can play inside the slot, can play outside, can run the ball out of the backfield. They are creating plays for Jahan Dotson, similar to what they did for Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. Go figure.
Yeah. I mean, Jahan Dotson coming out of college, people thought he was just strictly a speed guy. And if you know the whole Penn State receiver route, they are very finesse route runners. They know their route tree. Their coach, that's what their coach wants them to do. I mean, you listen to Matt Harmon talk about him because Matt Harmon is a massive fan of all Penn State receivers due to this because they know their route tree coming in. They know it early. And Jahan Dotson was one of those players, but he had the explosiveness. And Allen Robinson had the height, the big body, but Jahan Dotson had pretty much it all. And like Deshaun Hamilton coming out of Penn State was the same way, just not as explosive as an athlete and got hurt. So as long as Jahan Dotson can stay healthy, I think he could be better than Terry McLaurin, even though Terry McLaurin's price is like spot on with Jahan Dotson right now. Yeah. I think you don't have to pay up for Terry McLaurin, and he's going to get more targets than Jahan Dotson. It's just production-wise, I think touchdowns Jahan Dotson will actually get. As you could see in the preseason, they target him in the red zone more.
Yeah, I mean, and just to note a couple of these wide receivers on this depth chart. I mean, you mentioned Byron Pringle. He is a depth piece, but he also is familiar with the Eric Bieniemy system. That was happening in Kansas City, so I like that transition over to Washington. If any of these guys go down, he could be an interesting pickup off the waiver wire midseason. And the other one, Diami Brown, field stretcher. He killed it in North Carolina with Sam Howell there. Just someone to keep an eye on. He's off of a lot of radars. He's flying underneath. I like him as a long shot.
Yeah, he's definitely a deep threat and somebody that I actually really liked his tape. I thought he was better than what his college production was, even though his college production was great.
Yeah, I mean he's a big field stretcher and he can go up and get the ball. I like that. And if they go into 4 wide receiver sets, it's going to be interesting to see if he can come up with some of the catches.
Yeah, which due to the tight end position, I think we're going to see a lot of 3 receiver set, maybe even flank Antonio Gibson out at receiver a little more. They're going to be a little more interesting offense than they have been the past couple of years. And
hang on, wait, before I think if you're rolling into the tight end section of this,
I'm actually avoiding it.
Oh, you were?
Personally. Yes, I'm avoiding it.
Don't do that.
I'm
There's
avoiding
one
it.
little. All right, so look,
Logan Thomas is free, and I like him.
I loved Logan Thomas when Logan Thomas was healthy. Yet he is still dealing with the calf strain that he missed 3 games due to last year. So they added Caden Smith in from the Giants. Yeah. He's a depth piece. All right, don't go crazy about that. However, there is a sleeper on this roster in the tight end position, and his name's Cole Turner. All right. He is literally undrafted in Dynasty rankings, not ranked. He was peppered with targets in Nevada. All right. He's a 5th round pick in the 2022 draft. And receiving is his game. He's not a blocking tight end. And the one thing I like to pick up from these preseason games, Tyler, is not necessarily who made the play, but what the play was structured to do. Where was the ball being targeted? Right to the tight end position. And John Bates couldn't catch crap. Sweeney couldn't catch crap. It's going to be Cole Turner catching passes in this offense. I think I want a piece of Cole Turner. And if you're in a league that has 2-year slot taxi slots, pick Cole Turner up, throw him in your taxi slot, because this team has no one at the tight end position outside of Logan Thomas that can play ball here. So I'm sticking my flag in Cole Turner right now.
All right, we're going to move on to a team that actually has a plethora of tight ends, but we just don't know who it's going to be, and we're going to go to Dallas. We're going to save your Giants a little bit later, but Dallas, very interesting. They let Kellen Moore, go off to the LA Chargers, which he looks like he's going to completely change that offense around. Let's start off at quarterback, Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, Will Grier. At running back, we have Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, Malik Davis, and Deuce Vaughn, who we talked about. At wide receiver, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, and CeeDee Lamb. We have Simi Fehoko, Jalen Tolbert, and Kevontae Turpin. And also we have at tight end, Jake Ferguson, who I really like. Luke Schoonmaker, I think that's how you pronounce it. Peyton Hendershot, who I also like a lot. And Scene. So I don't think you really need to worry about anybody else. It looks like the offensive line, it looked like it was progressing better. They need Zach Martin to sign, and hopefully he signs soon, because without him, no thank you for this offense. But tell me about this offense.
I'm not a big fan. And that, I guess it's just a personal opinion, and take it with a grain of salt, because you are always supposed to make your own predictions. But I wasn't happy how sloppy the offense played last year, particularly Dak Prescott. All right. He's Dynasty QB 12. He finished as QB 18. I understand he missed 5 games with a fractured thumb.
But most interceptions.
Yes. 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That is sloppy. And Tyler, I went out and traded Dak Prescott.
You know who he is?
This past week.
He's Matt Ryan. Remember Matt Ryan? He would have a massive year, 30 touchdowns, like 12 picks, and then the next year it'd be 20 touchdowns and like 18 picks.
Up and down.
He is Matt Ryan. He is Matt Ryan. He's our new Matt Ryan. The running has gone away.
Yeah.
He's strictly passing. And now the offense is turned into run-first offense, which Matt Ryan, it turned into. He's got one solid, amazing wide receiver. This offense is Atlanta's offense when Matt Ryan was in his prime.
I agree. And I'm out on Dak Prescott. I sold him this week. I got in return for Dak Prescott in a 2024 mid-second. I was light on stud receivers and needed running back depth. I traded him for Stephon Diggs, and Antonio Gibson, and I'm all about it. If you have Dak on your rosters, consider it. If you're not competing, why hold on to him? All right, he's 30 years old. He's signed until 2024, which is great.
It looks like he's getting an extension there. They're
Correct, but his progression has gone downhill. Not to say like because of last year, but he was dealing with ever since that leg injury. When he broke his leg on national television, that was it. Like the rushing upside of Dak Prescott is now gone. Okay, he is going to look to throw the ball downfield, and defenses are waiting for it. All right, the one bright spot about this offense, outside of CeeDee Lamb, who's great, Tony Pollard. All right, he's averaging 5.2 yards per carry. He is up there, dynasty running back 11. Tyler, do you think we can wait until he's RB8? No.
Coming off another foot injury. I mean,
we could have an Austin Eckler type scenario with minimal depth behind him, the pass catching ability, and he's going to tote the rock at least 240 times.
They're signing somebody else.
I don't think so. The depth chart behind him is deep.
It's going to be a mistake if they let this guy take that many touches. He can't do it. Like, he will have 3 outstanding games to start, and then he's going to start breaking down. Like that's it. He's a little smaller. I get he's like 200 pounds, 205. That's fine.
6 foot, 206, I think.
Yeah, and he's fast as hell. Like, but he's coming off a foot injury, a major foot injury, and all signs are pointing to him being healthy. My issue is he's a 26-year-old running back. He'll be 26, and
on a franchise tag,
and he's coming into his free agency, and it's a running back. Like, if you can get value for Tony Pollard, I threw him up in our league we're in, and there's a chance I actually might take a 25 first, and then like a lower end running back, like say like a Brian Robinson, a more depth piece. Like, give me somebody who I can just kind of get 2 years from that's a little younger, and a first, which it may be future first, 24, 25 first. But yeah, just like with the running back market the way it is, I'm looking to kind of get out of there. He could be huge, and if I'm contending, it's a different story. Like 2 years of Tony Pollard, fine. Like, I don't think they're going to refranchise tag him. Hopefully they get a deal done where it's like 2 more years and he gets paid up front. But I don't know. Like, he didn't have many carries because Zeke. So the tread on the tire could still be there. But those tires, he had a little bump in the road, and those tires need to get fixed.
Yeah, not to mention, like, the offense is changing slightly. They lost Kellen Moore. We talked about that. And we mentioned that the Cowboys love to run the ball, but all I keep hearing is that they're built to throw the ball more.
All signs are showing they are going to throw it. And
they went out and they got another pass-catching tight end in Schoonmaker in the draft. They went out and picked up Brandon Cooks and added him to the receiving room. Love that.
Yeah.
And you know what? It just puts almost a nail in the coffin for Michael Gallup, because he's coming back from injury, and now he has to compete with Brandon Cooks to stay on the field, which I think Brandon Cooks is probably number 2, listed on the depth chart as number 2.
He should be.
And he probably should be. He was a first-round pick, 2014. Yeah, I get it. He's 29 years old. However, he's still going to get the job done. And I think it opens up the offense for CeeDee Lamb even more so than we saw last year. He finishes wide receiver 5. I think he stays in that range, listed as dynasty wide receiver 4. Well, respectfully so, rather. I think you can only bet on maybe 2 of these guys for dynasty long-term. CeeDee Lamb, obviously one of them. If you want to take a shot with Tony Pollard, if he's on your roster, you're keeping him. I mean, unless you're not competing.
If I can refresh a little bit, I think I would.
I'm okay with the refresh, and that goes for any running back in Dynasty that doesn't have a second contract out for them. I ditched Miles Sanders a little bit
up for him.
Oh, I like
Ken
that.
Walker. I'd even take Zach Charbonnet and a
2025 first.
Yeah, I'd do that.
100% I would.
100%. 110% I would. You're hitting refresh at running back, and you're getting a first. So I know, like, the thing is that draft pick value, honestly, by the time that 25 first is up on the clock, that value is probably exceeding Tony Pollard at that moment. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing with running backs. So I get you're kind of losing value to start, but that value is only going up.
And you mentioned the tight end room, Jake Ferguson.
Love it.
Love Jake Ferguson. He is the guy. He was always the guy, in my opinion. I think Hendershot filled in nicely last year when he caught 2 touchdowns, undrafted free agent from
He's got a wide receiver body more.
Yeah.
Hendershot does. So
I think Hendershot just knows how to run routes better in a nutshell, but I'm not really too concerned about these guys, only for the simple fact that, they have 3 viable wide receivers. They have a pass catcher in Tony Pollard, in the running back.
Deuce Vaughn is going to catch some passes.
Deuce Vaughn is going to catch some passes. He's going to play that Tariq Cohen role.
Oh my God.
It seems to be. Name drop.
He's the buy.
He is definitely buy.
Wait a couple weeks, though, because his price has definitely shot through the roof because, oh, man, like he's
the smallest productive running back I've ever seen in my life.
He went to Kansas State where Darren Sproles went. Yeah. He literally was right there with Darren Sproles' records. If not, he broke them. Like, this guy is super productive at Kansas State at his height and weight in a big conference. Like, he is legit. Like, people thought, oh, look at how small he is. This guy is hard to break. Like, he's hard to take down. His vision is great.
He's hard to find.
Yes.
Like, once he has the ball in his hands and he's behind the offensive lineman, you can't see him.
Where
and he's small enough where he could slip right by you and not even notice.
And with his height and how low he can get, there's good chance you're getting calls for targeting. You're getting helmet-to-helmet calls. Like, this guy is going to be on the field just due to that. Like, he's going to get some calls on his side just because of his stature, because you can't tackle him. His tackle window is tiny. So I really, really like
He's
Deuce
a fun
Vaughn.
player to watch this year.
Like, that's all we said all offseason. His tape is great. And I was like, if he's there in the late 3rd, early 4th, I'm snagging him up because he's one of my favorite players to watch on tape. He was so fun to watch. He's lightning quick. Oh,
Could be a quick flip for dynasty value.
That's true. He is a running back, but he's also one of those running backs that
he could be a Boston Scott for years to come.
Despite his height and stature, he could be a pass-catching back that lasts very, very long. Let's go to the receivers a little more. Michael Gallup, like you said, I think he's going to be they're going to try to just get him short passes. I think his explosiveness won't come back right away. Hopefully it does. Jalen Tolbert wasn't really on him last year. I think I'm not going to at all. But
outside of CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Michael Gallup, I'm off.
Yeah, and Luke Schoonmaker, I think, was the biggest flop in this draft. A 25-year-old rookie tight end. Hey, remember Hayden Hurst, how we're all pumped for him, and he was a first-round pick? Mm-hmm. Luke Schoonmaker, despite him going to the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think is going to see the field much. He started off, with injuries in camps. Jake Ferguson has taken this role. He's a 4th-round pick. They really liked him when they picked him, and he is Dalton Schultz. That's who he is.
Dalton Schultz. We like Dalton Schultz in this offense when the offense was looking for Dalton Schultz. But if we go back and look at last year's stats for the tight end position, there was about 75 targets total, team total for the tight end position. So even though he is promising, Ferguson, even Schoonmaker behind him, I'm not investing much in the tight end room for the Dallas Cowboys due to the fact that the targets have not been there.
Yeah, we're talking about Schoonmaker, but there's something that is a smooth maker, and that is Manscaped. Manscaped makes you baby smooth. Just, so smooth.
Schoon.
I may or may have not, used it last night. And, the fun thing is it's got an LED light on the lawnmower. So when there's not a light in some spots.
So if you need to mow in the dark, you can.
Hey, mowing in the dark, if you have not done it, is actually quite nice because there's nothing better than nighttime air. It just feels crisp. Sometimes you need that. And hey, when you're using that Lawnmower 4.0 in darker spots, maybe you can kind of feel the light, crisp air in wherever you're doing it. Hey, take it outside if you want to. Don't tell neighbors I told you to do it, but if you want to go do that, easy cleanup,
Man, we always mulch this read, don't we?
Biodegradable, all that stuff. That's where what we're talking about. Birds can use it for nests. Hey, we're just helping everything out. Manscaped, you go use code DHH and you can get 20% off at Manscaped. You can go check out their packages for your package. And also the Weed Whacker, which I use for my nose. They've got subscriptions where they can send you new blades every 3 months, every month if you need it. I have that because I have every 3 months. I just get new blades for both the Weed Whacker and the lawnmower. It is great. You don't even need to think about it. They just end up in your mailbox. Boom. There they are. So use code DHH. Get 20% off anything at manscaped.com today. All right. Speaking of today, let's talk about your Giants, huh?
Hey,
Daniel Jones, I actually traded for him in our listener league, champion right here. I traded Russell Wilson and Saquon. I'm sorry, James. We'll talk about him. For Ramondre Stevenson and Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is year 2 in this offense. I think he's in for a big year. He looks great. He looks comfortable. You can't really tell Daniel Jones anyways. He just kind of looks like he's there for business, either selling you insurance or just there to play football. But Daniel Jones at the helm at quarterback, he is the dude. He got paid. He's going to be the dude for a while. Tyrod behind him still. And Tommy DeVito, what a name for a New York Giant player. Danny DeVito's son, if you all want to know.
Yeah, right.
He's the quarterback's 5 foot even, about 360 pounds. Looks like the penguin from Batman.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay. And at running back, as we talked about, Saquon Barkley, he's signed that 1-year deal. It is not the franchise tag, so they can still do that, and it's only the first year. We'll see what happens with him. I hope Saquon gets a deal because he's very good, and he is the offense.
I think they will.
Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell, Eric Gray, who I am a fan of, James Robinson, and Joshua Corbin, who is a Florida State very high recruit guy who showed up this past weekend. And going to the receivers, Isaiah Hodgins, the guy they got from Buffalo that really produced at the end of the year. They got Darius Slayton, who they signed to a 3-year deal last year, or this year. Last year, this year, one of the two.
This year.
Paris Campbell, who they got from Indy, who signed a 1-year deal. And let's not forget, the biggest thing, I think, John Michael Schmitz, Minnesota center. He should have been a first-round player. They got him in the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about a new center that is one of the best centers in college football the past 4 years. This guy was elite, and they got him. So I just wanted to bring that in because
it's important.
U of M guy, we saw him up here. This guy is eating just Minnesota food, hot dish like crazy. He's built to last, and he's going to love it in New York because this guy does not give a damn. He plays angry. Like
they just keep potato tot hot dish on the buffet line for him.
Yes,
after
they better.
camp.
Like I think the biggest this made me like the Giants more because if you're a U of M fan, this guy is like one of your favorite players to ever play for U of M. So you guys are very lucky. And speaking of a very productive guy in college last year, Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee, the speedster, the best receiver in college football. They got him in the 3rd round. Sterling Shepard is back. Wandale coming back from an ACL. And then we got Colin Johnson, everybody's favorite sleeper from 1,000 years ago. Cole Beasley, who's like 48 years old. David Sills, who is a West Virginia finest, I think. Or Cal. I think West Virginia, one of the two. Bryce Ford Wheaton, who, speaking of West Virginia, was the speedster, the tall guy that was undrafted that they signed. And Jamison Crowder, let's not forget, all the slot receivers. We might as well just mention everybody. Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. We'll just keep.
I mean, all right. I'm going to stop you there.
I'm not done.
Okay.
Done. And going to the tight end, Darren Waller, who is the big signing they brought in, the big trade, who is uncoverable. Daniel Bellinger, who was everybody's favorite rookie last year, including ours. Lawrence Cager, Tommy Sweeney, who's Doug's favorite. And we will end scene there.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot to take in. And
they got depth.
They have some depth, and I think the depth of the weakest links will be cut towards the end of training camp, especially in the slot receiver role. I think Isaiah Hodgins he played
locked in.
He's locked in. Wandale, he's locked in. Paris Campbell, he is locked in. Not playing the slot, FYI. Sterling
Crowder
Shepard
might
is
be
going to be staying there. I think Crowder, Beasley, Sills, Bryce Ford Wheaton, they're all chop salad. They really are.
Bryce Ford Wheaton could be practice squad guy.
Yeah, and so could David Sills, and that's where David Sills came from last year. So I'm not really concerned about that. The whole thing about Wandale Robinson, he's still dealing with injury. He's got a lot of competition for his spot now, and I think the Giants want to make a push, especially since, Barkley's on a 1-year deal now. They just signed Daniel Jones. They have 4 years to get it together and get something done. And I think this offense picks up where they left off last year in a fighting technique. This team they won majority of their games by 1 score or less, and they had minimal weapons. Now they add Darren Waller. I think the guys you want from this offense, really, obviously, Darren Waller, tight end 10 in Dynasty right now.
Oh, he could be top 3.
He could easily be
targeted.
top 3. I have him marked down as a top 5 tight end potentially. So I like that. Daniel Bellinger is not going anywhere. And pick him up, stash him.
Eyes back.
He has his eyes back.
That bad injury.
He had that. What's that? The Three Stooges with the poking in the eyes. Like he got it really bad.
Not Game of Thrones bad. I mean, if you've seen Game of Thrones, the Viper gets destroyed by the mountain in his eyes. Not that bad, but
not that bad. But I'm holding him and acquiring on the cheap for Daniel Bellinger. Tommy Sweeney is not it. Just by going off the preseason, like the guy dropped like 3 or 4 balls.
He's a blocker.
He's a blocking tight end and should be as such. However, the targets were going to the tight end, and we've heard things out of camp that they had to take Darren Waller out of the offense during training camp just so Daniel Jones can throw to some of the wide receivers. And as soon as he started doing that, we hear things about Jalen Hyatt popping off, who, 3rd round pick. And let's just put it out there, Tyler, you were not a big fan in the offseason. But you are starting to come around on it. He's a field stretcher, okay? He knows how to run routes. He's quick,
fast.
shifty. He's
so
not a great blocker,
fast.
but will be on the field, no doubt, and definitely in 3 wide receiver sets. And he's a Blitnikoff winner. There's a reason why this guy.
Hey, James Washington was too, but he didn't turn out to be anything. But
James Washington never had a 5-touchdown game on 6 receptions.
James Washington is also not running 24 miles an hour on a practice field. Like
exactly.
Jalen Hyatt is like James. We're talking Jameson Williams. You can get a cheaper version of that who's going to be playing more earlier than Jameson Williams. That's probably around cheaper. You can get him for a future second when Jameson Williams still probably costs you a first.
And I think $1 Robinson, his value has died, really just fell off. He's only 22 years old. He's still dealing with a lot of injury, but he could be electric when the ball's in his hands. And that's what I'm waiting for. We wait for these players like Jahan Dobson. And as soon as they touch the ball, you see it. You can see the difference that he is one of the best on the field. I think they brought in a bunch of competition because they don't know when he's coming back. But when he does, he will definitely start to steal the show again in the wide receiver room, and I'll be here to see it, and that's when I'll sell.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard, I think, is an afterthought. I think the guys you want to go for are Hyatt because his price is still reasonable.
Hyatt, Hodgins, and Robinson.
Hodgins is a very cheap
Paris
option.
Campbell, too. 1-year deal, Paris Campbell.
I can't do it. You're not going to hurt me again.
Yeah. I mean, but you're not paying as much as you did when he was drafted. All right, let's be honest about that.
Yeah.
And reports out of camp is he is really getting along with Daniel Jones. So I like it.
Everybody gets along with that guy. Like,
yeah, I mean,
Daniel Jones just
he
seems
doesn't
like
talk.
A guy that's like, hey, what's up? He's Eli Manning.
He's a turkey sandwich on rye with nothing on it, just like turkey and bread.
The best part is when he got drafted, it's like he's the guy that plays Eli Manning in a film about Eli Manning. Like that's who he is, and that's a perfect replacement and a perfect guy.
He's the guy playing the guy.
Yeah, I'm the dude playing the dude that's playing the dude.
Exactly.
I just watched that movie, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I think this offense is perfect to go for cheap options. Waller, I don't think anybody wants to touch, even though the writing's there for him to have a massive ceiling. I know you're not going to like this trade. I traded Anthony Richardson in this offseason for C.J. Stroud, Darren Waller, and Hopkins.
I like that.
And I'm a win now team.
Yep.
So it was like I had nobody at tight end. I had Kate on. So I'm like, I need this player at tight end. And this was, I think, even before he got traded. So I was like, okay, Waller, we're good here. And Hopkins, this was before he went to Tennessee. And C.J. Stroud, I don't think, was too far in my books away from Richardson. There was the big three for sure at quarterback. But, man, this offense I love for cheap options. I think Isaiah Hodgins is the big one for me. He opened my eyes in Buffalo when there was preseason. He had massive preseasons. Big, tall guy, good route runner, great hands, can high point the ball. And I just think he needed an opportunity, and he got it. And Double pretty much snagged him up and said, here's our opportunity, showed us. I think he has an opportunity to be the wide receiver one in this offense.
Yeah.
Other than Waller.
Waller's getting a ton Waller is going to be the receiving guru.
150 targets is realistic for Waller. That's realistic.
I hope he's healthy, and I hope he stays healthy, and I hope my Giants make it back to the playoffs, which they should. Quick note on one of the running backs in the backfield, in the depth chart, rather. Eric Gray, it's going to be between him and Brightwell, who's on the bubble to be cut.
I think Brightwell's going to get cut.
I think Brightwell might get cut. He's a little bit older. Eric Gray, he's a 5th-round pick. It's okay if you need to drop him to pick somebody else up.
I actually like Eric Gray a lot.
I liked him too. I liked his film. But now that Saquon is back, at least for this season, we know that we're not going to see a lot of Eric Gray. So I'm okay. Like, hey, if you want to drop Eric Gray and try to acquire Evan Hull, do it.
Yeah, I think both Evan Hull and Eric Gray are great holds. If you have Matt Breida, I think you're safe to drop him personally. Yeah. I think they know who he is. He'll come in for a couple runs to give Barkley a break. But yeah, Barkley, right now, I think his price is reasonable. He's a hold. You can't really trade him because he's more important on your roster if you have him.
He needs another contract if you're going to try to trade away Saquon Barkley. You can't go and trade away a player on a 1-year deal that he had bad contract negotiations, turned down a long-term deal. It just doesn't work. He's going to have to prove it again to you that he can be a top 5 running back.
I think he's a guy that lasts too. He's a different
he's a different breed,
like Zeke. Like he could honestly, I think Barkley, because Barkley came out at a later age than Zeke. People forget Zeke was like 19 when he stepped on the NFL field. He's super young, but Barkley, he's a little older, but I think he could last until he's 29 and
he's got another contract left in him, and he knows that. That's why he was holding.
Yeah, I agree. So I do like this offense. One last player I want to talk about is Daniel Jones. Let's go back to him. Okay. Let's kind of go quarterbacks around him. I think you'd rather have him over Kirk Cousins.
Yes, because of the age and the rushing upside
and contract. I mean, Daniel Jones is
sick.
Okay, now let's go to the player we already talked about, Dak Prescott.
Give me Daniel Jones.
Okay, I think I'm actually in the same boat with Prescott getting up there. 30 years old. I know it's not big, but Daniel Jones gives you the rushing. Let's see.
Yeah, and he's valued like 6, 7 spots under Dak Prescott, which is it's nice. So like if you wanted to trade Dak Prescott and you get Daniel Jones and a second, would you do that?
Yeah,
I would.
At price.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones.
That's a little tougher. Age is a little close. At price, give me Deshaun Watson.
Okay. I think Watson is going to be a riser for sure. And honestly, Daniel Jones could be too. I think if he produces this year, I think we're going to kind of be like, okay, like we'll
see. Here's the problem with the Dynasty ADP right now. We have all the young guys obviously going ahead of Daniel Jones, which by the end of the season it could be flip flopped. We have Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, all 3 of them ahead of Daniel Jones. Which, don't forget, Daniel Jones was a 1st-round pick.
6 overall.
And he's sitting at QB 16 right now in Dynasty. I have a feeling that he can move up. Dak Prescott could go down, and we could be looking at a Daniel Jones, possibly a QB 11, QB 12 for Dynasty at the end of the season.
Yep. All right, now let's move to a team that has the Dynasty quarterback 2, 3. It doesn't matter where you have him, but
I think it's 2.
He is elite. And this is the NFC champions, and it is the Philadelphia Eagles. That is right. They came back. Nick Sirianni, after pretty much being the laughingstock of the NFL one year, he comes in and shows everybody he's one of the better coaches of the NFL. Let's go over their depth chart, which is elite.
Like, it's changed.
top to down, top to bottom, just elite. Jalen Hurts, Marcus Mariota, quitter at second quarterback, and Tanner McKee. DeAndre Swift at running back, Kenneth Gainwell, I love. Rashad Penny, Boston Scott, Trey Sermon.
Look good in preseason, Trey Sermon.
At wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Olamide Zaccheaus, Greg Ward, Quez Watkins. We have Joseph Nada, the Clemson superstar he kind of fizzled. Jalen Hazelwood, who was Oklahoma 5-star recruit that fizzled. And Tyreek Cleveland, who had a great game this week. That's the only reason why I mentioned him. But other than that, it doesn't matter. And at tight end, we have Dallas Goedert, who is just playing around with a very high-tier tight end, just never seems to be there. Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra,
blocker,
Dan Arnold, Tyree Jackson, and Brady Russell.
Yeah. I think Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra, Dan Arnold, and Russell, I mean, you could just write them off. I'm not really interested in any of them. And to be honest, I'm not really interested in Dallas Goedert. And he's Dynasty tight end 6 right now. I think it's time to start selling.
He's 28 years old. He did get a big contract.
He got a big contract. We were expecting him to come off the injury last year and dominate, which he finished as tight end 12, missing 5 games. He did have more target percentage than he did years prior, and he could bounce back, but I'm not taking that risk. If you can get, because, he finished tight end 12. He's not going to finish as a top 3 tight end. Those days for Dallas Goedert are over because they have someone called A.J. Brown in the offense. It just doesn't happen. You can't have 2 top 12 wide receivers and have a top 5 tight end. It just does not happen. I think Dallas Goedert's targets are going to go down, especially with the addition of DeAndre Swift in the offense. They want to pass him the ball. They want to get Swift the ball in space. So I think Dallas Goedert gets the knock for me, and I'm selling right now. If he's worth a 2024 first and say Chigakonkwo, I'm taking Chigakonkwo in the first for Dallas Goedert.
I would love to do that because, imagine if that first turn, I'd do a first.
And then then the first turns into Brock Bowers next year.
Yes, 100%, which is an elite tight end. That's what we're talking about. So, yeah, I even if I got the 24 first.
You like my feeling on that? That sounds like a good idea.
24 first and Jake Ferguson, I would do. Because Jake Ferguson is going to be right in that same realm where Dallas Goedert is, just because he's going to get more targets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I agree with that tight end room. No, Jalen Hurts, you said quarterback 2. Tell us why.
I'm okay with it. He's definitely in the top 3. DFL has him as QB 2. And I don't think he's done yet, Tyler. He's shown everybody now. I think he is elite with a capital E. I think he should be right up there with the Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen talk, not just because of the guys in the locker room around him, which he has a vast array of weaponry that he can pass the ball off to. It's the simple fact that he's dedicated to his craft. All right. And you have to read tea leaves in the offseason. And I know we don't have much to go off of. However, he was asked to be on the quarterback show. No, thank you. I'm focused on my
which
craft.
Is ridiculous. Pat Mahomes did it, and he won the championship.
But that's okay. You can see the dedication for Jalen Hurts, constantly wanting to get better at what he does best. All right. He gets mad when he lost the Super Bowl. He got mad. Well, guess what? He's back out there working at it hard. He has the rushing upside, which is great. And they went out and got Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift. Now, Penny, he looked kind of bad in between the tackles last night. I'm not going to lie about that, or the preseason game that he was in. Swift, he started off at the top of the depth chart, but we know he's going to be a more of a passing target than a handoff guy.
False.
Yeah?
Kenneth Gainwell did not play because
Kenneth Gainwell's ahead of him on the depth chart?
They have him up top, which, hey, Kenneth Gainwell is one of my darlings. He had him at running back 3 the year he came out. Yeah, watch out for Kenneth Gainwell, who is one of my buys.
He could be a sneaky one, but the whole point, just to go full circle around Jalen Hurts, is that he has the weapons around him. He knows how to read a defense. He's gotten smart with his decisions on the football. I can see him staying in the top 5 quarterbacks for at least 3 to 4 more years. So if you have him on your roster, enjoy him. Don't get rid of him. I've had multiple offers that I have just turned down and said, no, this is a guy that I scouted, that everybody had doubts on, that we got him cheaper in rookie drafts in the 2nd round. And now I'm just running straight to the bank. I'm holding. Do not cash in. And if for some reason you do get the obscene offer of 2 firsts and Kyler Murray or something like that, then yeah, go for it. You can cash in at that price tag, but right now he's pretty much untouchable in all dynasty formats.
Yeah, I agree. I actually had a chance to trade for him before.
Stop agreeing with me all
before. The time. Well, I think he's one of my biggest regrets because the Eagles had 3 first-round picks or something like that, where they could trade up to get one of the big quarterbacks, was my issue. So I actually did not have him included in the trade where he was included before his big season, and that is one of my bigger regrets. We all have them. Hey, we all miss.
Could you imagine, like, last offseason, going, like, trading Trevor Lawrence and a first, and, like, I don't know, Trevor Lawrence, and you'd probably get a first and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that was reasonable. Like, that was a big...
That was happening last year.
People would laugh at you. People would laugh at you for trading for Jalen Hurts. Oh, man. I mean, Trevor Lawrence's value was very low as well. Thanks, Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
But, yeah, going over to the running backs, we already kind of, we talked about it briefly. I think Swift is the most expensive, which for me is the sell. For also the buy, I already said Gainwell. I think he is very obtainable. You can
what are we doing with Rashad Penny?
I'm not touching him.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, we all know what's going to happen. He's going to have like 2 big games and then get hurt. And the injury's going to linger for the whole season. And, I mean, that could even happen to Swift. That's what we keep seeing.
They're both
Swift.
on 1-year deals.
Yep. So for me, Kenneth Gainwell is the big winner here. He did not play last night, which shows me they want to save him. And I love that. But the biggest thing is 2 stud receivers.
Yeah,
A.J.
2
Brown.
receivers in the top 9.
Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown. Now, my question I want to throw to you.
Sure.
A.J. Brown, he's going to be 27. Devonta Smith is this guy that everybody thinks is just a number 2 receiver. Is there a day that happens when Devonta Smith takes over the wide receiver 1 for this team?
No, there isn't. There is a day where Devonta Smith gets traded to another team and leads that team as the wide receiver 1. I don't think it happens. I think the relationship with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts is going to be consistent.
There is no way he's leaving this team.
Yeah, there's no way. And just by the elite level of talent with A.J. Brown, there's no way that they're getting rid of that duo. It's going to be like a Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers timeline where these guys could stick together for a really, really long time, at least the next 3 years. He's only 26, as you mentioned. He'll be 27 when the season starts. But Devonta Smith, he has a lot of potential. All right. 95 receptions off 136 targets. That could go up. He's broken over 1,100 yards both years. And I don't like him as much as a wide receiver 1 for my fantasy teams. He's not the guy that I'm going out there looking to be a wide receiver 1. But if by chance you can get him, and he is a solid number
One of
2.
the best number 2s you can
Yes. I mean, Devontae Smith or T. Higgins. We can have that debate.
Yeah, they're right there next to each other. And honestly, I think I'd take Smith.
I think I might take Smith as well. And he's only 24. He's entering his 3rd season. He's only got, 2 years left on his contract?
He's not leaving. I know they paid.
They have to figure out a way
Yep.
to keep A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts on the field. I think they started it by not re-signing Miles Sanders to a big contract, bringing in Swift, bringing in Penny on 1-year deals. Dallas Goedert, he's under contract for a while. So
they have Kelsey who will be gone. Kelsey will be gone. They got a center that they drafted to take over. Like, this is what the Eagles are doing. They have people behind these veterans.
Yes.
So when they have to sign guys like Smith, they can let these younger players come in that have been like what we should be doing for quarterbacks and all these positions that matter. Like, draft a quarterback a couple years early, let them learn, then let them play instead of
like
throwing
Sam
them in
Howell.
the fire. Like,
Jordan Love.
That's what the Eagles are doing for offensive line and defensive line. So it's like, okay, they got Carter. Once Cox is done, like, Carter's coming in, boom. They upgraded. It's crazy. Like, their front office is so good. Now, I do want to throw one more thing at you. The Eagles, they were the best running team pretty much last year. They scored the most rushing touchdowns. Sanders had a huge year. What if they just throw? Because you know what? The NFL is more of a... I see it as usually offenses like to change up a bit. Like, they don't like to be predictable. What if the Eagles are like, we're throwing? We are throwing 500, 600 times this year, and we're letting Jalen Hurts cook. We're going to get him the MVP. He's going to be Pat Mahomes. Then we got these 2 receivers are going nuts. They could be top 5. They could be Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden style productive. That's what we could be looking here. And I'm all for it.
I think if they do that and they let him throw, say, 100 times more than they did last year. He had 460 attempts last year, completed 306 of them, over 3,700 yards. He had 22 touchdowns in the air and only 6 interceptions, but he had 13 rushing touchdowns. So if they do that, Tyler, and even say if it's like 80 more attempts through the air, I don't see the rushing going down for Jalen Hurts. So you always have that solid rushing floor that he's going to get at least 500 yards and 10 touchdowns on the ground. I like the fact if they did that, he's going to be QB1.
So
I don't see another way. He's got 2 great wide receivers that no other team in the NFL has outside of the Bengals with
Higgins and Chase.
Or
Vikings with Addison.
Right. Well, I mean, Addison, I'd rather have Devontae Smith over Addison.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, if you listen to Tyler's advice and traded CeeDee Lamb 2 years ago for a first and Devontae Smith, you made out on the deal. But I don't see it changing. Sometimes. I don't see this offense really changing too much. I think they stay in the first position in the NFC East and possibly the NFC overall.
But the thing is these guys ran the crap out of the ball the second half. They played defense and they scored quick and often first half. Second half, they didn't have to do anything, so they ran. What if this defense kind of takes a step back? They're getting a little older. Their middle linebackers are completely new, even though they're still very good. You know, I think
it's just more points on the fantasy scoreboard for everybody involved. Like immediately, Jalen Hurts.
Oh, that's what I mean.
I think it's great.
Smith could have an even bigger year.
Oh yeah,
AJ Brown.
We could be talking about wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 5.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And Dallas Goedert, I know you and I are both agreeing again.
Yeah.
Where
we got to stop doing that.
I know.
We usually don't. And I don't know what it is. Maybe, you're just like, yeah, James did his homework this week. I'll just agree with him.
But, you are the connoisseur of the NFC East.
NFC East connoisseur.
So behind, one last thing behind in the wide receivers, Zacchaeus, he signed a 1-year deal. No, like he's going to have a couple big games here and there where it's like, oh my God, he scored a 6-yard touchdown.
Yeah, between him, Quez Watkins, and Greg Ward, I mean, you can roll the dice. More so for DFS than anything else. I'm not really interested in any of those three for dynasty purposes.
Yeah. Well, hey, James, we did it.
Hey.
We're done with the previews. We are finished.
Divisional dump down next week.
Divisional dump.
Divisional dumps. With
so
Tyler and James.
Next week, we are planning on doing a rookie redraft, end of season with all this stuff behind us. There'll be some preseason games that ended, so maybe there's some hype pieces. Maybe Zach Charbonnet comes in.
Oh, yeah, I'm drafting him, running back at 1 overall.
Yeah. So that's what we are doing next week. We're going to have a little fun again now that the divisional breakdowns are done. Hopefully you enjoyed them, and if you missed any, go back and re-listen because they are pretty much the same. We talked them over. And I don't think much has changed in the offseason.
No, I mean, this is the information that you want going into the last couple weeks in August.
Yeah.
It's trade season in Dynasty. If you can get something done, get on the wire, start putting players up for sale, and go out and try to make some deals done. Like, I wasn't even looking to get that Dak deal done. I knew he was sitting on my roster. I wanted to offload him.
James always looks at Dak, though.
I needed some other pieces. Start looking at your rosters. You know, it was quiet like a month ago. No one was making any moves. But now that training camp is in full force and we had our first round of preseason games, there's going to be a lot of up and down hype. Capitalize on it. That's how you play the game of Dynasty.
100%. And also what you can capitalize on when you're making these trades is going to Dynasty Nerds and using code DHH, and you get 15% off a subscription. You can use their GM tool. They have a trade calculator right in there after you integrate all your leagues from Sleeper and MFL. You have a trade calculator right there. It helps you out with your trades. I've used it a bunch. You get to see how your teams are kind of at before the season, seeing what you need, wide receivers, tight ends. You can just click on the position and it shows up. It is a great tool, and it's worth every penny. So once again, go to dynastynerds.com, code DHH, and get 15% off a subscription. And also, as you can see, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It's getting a little cooler over here in Minnesota. You can go get a sweatshirt, even a t-shirt if you're living in warmer states where you're frying. And go to VeridianGlobal.com, get yourself a Dynasty Happy Hour t-shirt. Other than that, James, anything else?
No, I think that's it, Tyler. We covered it. Great episode. Great to wrap up the divisional dumps.
Yes, my back hurts. I've been carrying Doug through this whole entire damn time. So we will have Doug back.
I think
next
you
week.
upped your. To be honest, you upped your hosting game this year. I know you don't like to do it, but you took the bull by the horns, man. You really upped your game in the hosting department.
I need that picture. I need that picture and dodgeball. That's me grabbing the bull by the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways,
dodge a wrench.
Yes.
You can listen to DHH.
So here we are. We will see you guys next week, and you can listen to us next week. Listen, YouTube once again at Dynasty Happy Hour. See ya.
Later.